Florida. From the Showcase studio at...
We started from the top, now we're here.
The Showcase studio live in downtown Cleveland. The jewel in the crown of the iHeart Radio media empire. WMMS Cleveland. My name's Alan Cox. Thank you. Soon to be a footnote in this radio station's history, but nevertheless.
What, you got something you need to tell us?
Nah, I shouldn't say soon. I just mean, well, his next act will be, emphasis on the word act.
Hopefully OnlyFans.
Yeah. You would like that, wouldn't you?
I'd love it.
Just him in a bow tie.
Yeah, I want him.
I know he doesn't do the bow tie now, but that was kind of the form that he cut for a long time. He was the dude in the bow tie.
I want him in his regular suit, and he gets all frothed up when he talks about, like, black people looting cities. And he's like, I'm sick of this. You know what? This world's going to crap. And he just starts unbuttoning. I'm like, oh, here we go.
You know what? I'm so angry and hot, I've got to take my shirt off.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when a policeman knocks at the door of a bachelorette party. I heard there was some trouble being caused here. That kind of thing?
Sure.
All right, well, listen, from your mouth into whoever's ears. If you'd like to join us live today, we'd love to have you. 216-578-1007. 800-348-1007. You can send me a text to 35192 if you're listening to us on the iHeartRadio app. There's a little talkback button there. You can drop messages quickly there. You can leave them for us anytime on our after hours line as well. Some people just like to leave voicemails, and that's fine too. That is 216-986-8903. We announced Buzzardfest this morning. We told you it was happening last week, but weren't at liberty to divulge the lineup until this morning. It's very exciting. It's basically a full weekend that's happening out at Victory Park in North Ridgeville, a weekend consisting of Buzzardfest on Friday, August 4th, and then that next night is the WGAR Country Jam. For our purposes, however, Stansbury and I were just talking about it. We've got Incubus, Bush, Live, Filter, Welshly Arms, great Cleveland band, who they're not even confined to Cleveland anymore. I mean, they go out on the road
touring,
and they're doing stuff.
They're great, though.
The Kaleidoscope Kid and Winona Fighter, who are maybe lesser known to you, but no less important in this lineup. They're all awesome. And you can get your tickets now. We told you last week to get in on the early bird tickets, and a lot of people did that, which is smart. You didn't really have to know who the lineup was going to be because you know we weren't going to steer you wrong. But you can buy your tickets now at WMMS.com. But August the 4th, a Friday, is when the return of Buzzardfest. After a 23-year hiatus, the very last Buzzardfest was in the year 2000. I don't remember. I shouldn't say I don't remember. It's way before my time. I don't know who the lineup was for the 2000. I'm sure many of you will probably know that, who the lineup was. Let's see. Who are the likely candidates for the summer of 2000? 23 years ago, right? You guys were, let me do some quick math. You and Poundcake were both 23 years younger.
Yes.
And
good job. I was 18 years old.
18 years old, okay. I'm trying to think
Just not graduating from high school.
Okay.
Just about to not graduate.
I mean, in your early 2000s, you're going to be talking about, trying to think of who we were playing on the radio when I first got to Pittsburgh. I got there in January of 99. Alternative music, which is what my station there was coming off a wave. It wasn't new metal yet. It was coming off that post-grunge, heavily female alternative. So when I first got there, for my first couple of months there, it hadn't yet transitioned into what would become new metal and rap rock and all that stuff. So it was a lot of Alanis, the Cardigans, bands like that, right? You had your Green Days, you had your Weezers, because they were already about a decade in by the late 90s. You were getting your Jimmy Eat Worlds, but I don't know who did. I'm sure somebody can tell me. Somebody who went to the last Buzzardfest in the year 2000. Who was there? Maybe it was a No Doubt. I don't know. But the bands that we've got for this year are awesome. I've seen them all. Maybe you've seen them all. You know, Rich Patrick from Filter, of course, the Patrick brothers, Robert the actor and Rich in Filter, they're Bay Village natives. And so people around these parts claim Filter as a Cleveland band, and they probably should. Incubus, I haven't seen in a few years.
I love them.
Saw them in the Bahamas last.
I saw them at Blossom a few years ago. It was probably 6 or 7 years ago now, but it was awesome. The last Buzzardfest 2000 was June 30th, 2000 at Nautica, and the only person I can get on the lineup that I've found so far is it was headlined by Stone Temple Pilots.
Okay.
So that's pretty awesome.
Well, there you go.
But in past years, there had been bands like 311, No Doubt, Candlebox, Goldfinger, and the Tragically Hip.
The Tragically
the
Hip.
Nixons, right?
Wow.
God's Child, Dash, Rip Rock. I don't know.
They're digging deep, man.
Yeah.
All right. Tragically Hip. R.I.P. Gord Downey. Coming south of the border to make some noise in Cleveland, Ohio. Dash Rip Rock. Wow. And they were from, that was like a rockabilly band back in the day from Baton Rouge. Anywho, who cares? Your 2023 Buzzard Fest, Incubus, Bush, Live Filter, Welshly Arms, the Kaleidoscope Kid, and Winona Fighter, all of them. This is very exciting, because it used to be a regular thing that radio stations would do kind of their own festivals, right? Closest thing to that around here has always been Roverfest. But they've been on a hiatus for a few years, too. I assume COVID-induced, because it's a massive undertaking. I've only been to one Roverfest, but I mean, a massive, massive undertaking to do that. So anyway, that whole weekend, you got to buy separate tickets for people who might want to cross the rock and country streams. I don't know if there are weekend. I'm sure there are. There have to be weekend tickets for people who want to go to both. But I'm telling you about Buzzard Fest because that's what I care about. Of course, our own Bill Squire, a stand-up comedy alumnus of the WJR Country Jam.
Once and only.
Whether or not
we did it once, and that's the only time we're doing it.
That's the only time?
Yeah.
If they ask you, Carletta.
I will say you have to pay me as much as you're paying the headliner of.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Who's their headliner?
I don't even know.
Some Hillrod from Florida or something?
Jumpy Gumpkin.
Okay, well, you got to pay me what Jumpy Gumpkin is getting.
Yeah, there's no way I'm doing it again. That was.
Okay. And Tucky C might be opening up that show.
Yeah.
You'd never do it again?
Nah.
Wow.
It was not
well,
good.
I mean,
it was terribly the fact that
they outdoor daytime comedy vibe is not really.
It's not good, but also they
set up for success.
They didn't have they were still setting the band up in between. I was like, no, you can't have us go out there when you have other people on stage. That's so terrible.
You're dodging roadies.
Yeah, it was awful.
Yeah,
I'm very Charlie, the guy that used to be the PD over there at GAR. Not happy with him. With how that played out.
Still holding a grudge.
I mean, it just was terribly planned.
You should have found him in Youngstown. I think he's running a station in Youngstown. You should have gone in when you were in town. You should have found him. Thrown pebbles at his window.
We talked about it. It wasn't his fault. It was just nobody. Yeah,
it was poorly thought out.
Poorly thought out.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to take a break here. Charlie Sheen is going to call in a little bit later on. Friday night out at MGM Northfield Park. He is doing an evening with Charlie Sheen along with a screening of Major League. So it's been some time since he's been to Cleveland. We'll catch up with him right around 4:30 if all goes well. If you want to send a text here for anything, 35192. Next chance for you to grab some money is about 20 minutes away.